Welcome back, Canisius College. This is hashtag Griff Sports. I'm Joe Rutigliano.
And I'm John Langley. This week on hashtag Griff Sports, we'll dissect the Griff's rivalry with Niagara, and Griff's Libero Emily Litwin will be in studio to talk volleyball.
But first, we'll take you through all of last week's highlights, starting with the Griff's volleyball team. They were taking on Niagara in this year's first installment of the Battle of the Bridge. The Griffs up 17-7 here in the first set when Caitlin Tyler misses a serve there, and that gets the Purple Eagles going. Now 21-14, Niagara with a point off a block touch from Rachel Klein, and they came all the way back to tie it at 25 before finally Jess Warner's ace gives them a 27-25 win in set number one. Third set now, match point for the Griffs. Jess Warner with the strong attack. It pinballs around the Niagara defense before hitting the ground, and the Griffs sweep Niagara to improve to 3-2 in conference play.
The Griffs also played twice over the weekend, falling twice as they struggled offensively in both matches, hitting just 186 on the weekend. They were swept by Marist on Saturday before falling in 5 sets to the undefeated Siena Saints on Sunday. Senior outside hitter Emily Ellick had 9 kills in each match.
As for the men's soccer team, they traveled to Olean on Sunday to face rival St. Bonaventure and won a tightly contested matchup in overtime thanks to Will Hudson's 96-minute penalty kick goal. Hudson had both goals in the Griffs' victory.
The women's soccer team lost their only contest of the weekend, falling to Monmouth 2-1. Brianna Smith had the only Griffs goal, and it moved her into a tie for second place on the all-time goals list with 36 career scores. They also took on Niagara on Wednesday, falling 1-0 despite outshooting the Purple Eagles 8-2 in the second half.
And for the first time in 3 years, the Griffs golf team did not win the Little 3 championship. They finished 9 strokes behind host St. Bonaventure. Sophomores Brendan Polson and Andrew Romano finished 3rd and 4th respectively.
Let's take a look at what's coming up this weekend for the Griffs. Volleyball takes on Iona on Saturday and Manhattan on Sunday, trying to build on their 3-2 conference record.
And both the men's and women's soccer teams play against Manhattan and Marist. On Saturday, the men play at home while the women are on the road against the Jaspers. And then on Wednesday, the men will hit the road while the women play the Red Foxes at the Dembski Sports Complex.
Griffs hockey is back. They'll take on Brock University in an exhibition game at Buff State at 4 p.m. on Sunday. C-Block will provide shuttle service to the game.
And in other Griffs sports news, Saturday Griffs rowing will compete in the head of the Genesee. Griffs cross country will run in the Brooks Paul short run, and Griffs golf will take part in the Binghamton Fall Invitational on Sunday and Monday.
Next on hashtag Griff Sports, Kyle Ferrara sits down with Emily Litwin live in studio.
And later I'll chat with Griff superfan Pat Clancy about the Battle of the Bridge.
This is hashtag Griff Sports.
Tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Welcome back to hashtag Griff Sports. Kyle Ferrara here with you in Studio B with Emily Litwin, the Griffs Libero. And Emily, you guys had a great win against Niagara last night. How did it feel to get that victory over our rival?
It was great. It's been a while since the Volley Griffs have beaten Niagara, so it's definitely a good win, especially coming off a hard weekend, especially losing to Siena. It was great to come out with a victory leading into this next weekend where we're hosting Manhattan and someone else, Iona.
There you go. Yeah, Iona on Saturday and then Manhattan. What did you guys do better against Niagara yesterday than you did over the weekend? Obviously, you fell twice on Saturday and Sunday.
I think we had all-around better hitting than we did this past weekend, and whether that was to start with a pass or, just the hitters being smarter. But there's so many things that factor into volleyball. It could have been anything.
What about for yourself personally this year? Obviously, you're sliding into that libero role that Allie Severin held, and she's one of the better liberos that we've had here at Canisius. Is that any pressure on you?
It was a lot of pressure, especially in the beginning and during preseason. I came in with the thought that I had big shoes to fill, and I didn't want to let all of her hard work go to waste. But I realized that part that makes me a good libero was my own style, and I couldn't be Allie. And even though she has done such a fabulous job and has made mark on history here for the Volley Griffs, I have to play my own way, and I think I'm doing it better living up to her, filling those shoes now that I am playing the way I always have.
What is your own style? Can you kind of describe that for us?
I'm a very talkative libero, and Allie was a little more quiet. Not that it's like a difference, but I'm a perfectionist. Like, I don't like balls to drop at all, and got to make my perfect pass. But more than anything, I like to be there for my teammates as a support, especially when they go up to hit, because facing a bid block is something I have no knowledge about. So if I can be there and get the cover, if that does happen, that's what I like most about being a libero.
So you're getting towards the end of your career here at Canisius. What's your future plans?
Well, I actually want to try to play in Europe, and it's a little far-reached because not a lot of small schools, liberos, can go overseas and play, but I know some people that have done it, and I thought, while my body's still healthy, why not give it a shot? But if I can't do that, I really want to take a stab into coaching. I coach now for a club called Niagara Frontier. It was a club that I used to play for, and it's just something I fell in love with. I think there's a real pleasure about building the next generation and making them better than you are, and I think I have a real knack for technical skills, seeing it for other people rather than just on myself.
And last thing for you, just kind of a fun fact about yourself.
It's more like a family fun fact. My uncle, Mark Wagner, holds a record here for Griffs hockey, and then my grandfather, Matt Wagner, was a manager on the football team in the 80s. But
So obviously your family's gone here for a while. Was it
Yeah.
always your plan to come here?
It wasn't. I actually started at Binghamton University. I was a transfer student my last year. I was offered here first, and I kind of regretted not making the decision, but there were a lot of factors that made me choose Binghamton. But I think I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm really happy that I'm helping, living on my family legacy, but I'm definitely where I'm supposed to be. It's as far as my happiness is involved.
What's your favorite thing about Canisius over Binghamton?
The small school setting. Binghamton was large and had lecture halls, and the teachers weren't very into helping you succeed. And here, the teachers are very involved with your learning, and it's very nice because I'm not the smartest, but I work really hard, so these teachers notice that, and they'll help you when you need help.
All right, Emily, thanks for coming on. Great
Thank
interview.
you.
Next on #GriffSports, Joe and Pat will talk about how much we hate Niagara here at Canisius. Stay right here.
There was one day that we had just done the cardiovascular unit, in class that day. And then right after class, I went over to the Vascular Institute, volunteered, put the scrubs on. And one of the doctors asked me if I wanted to see an open heart surgery. And so I said, yeah,
really?
sure.
I came into Canisius as obviously as a freshman, not really sure what I wanted to do. I ended up taking a digital media arts class, and that really just kind of jump-started, my career.
And I think being where we are in the city and in the world with the medical campus that we have here is really an opportunity that I wouldn't have anywhere else.
It's more than just academics. Meet different people. Go out and do things. There's so much more to college. It's an experience.
I instantly fell in love with doing video work, graphic design. I started pursuing more and more opportunities in the school, whether it was doing admissions videos on the sides. I did a couple videos for alumni relations, the president of the college, and then I actually got noticed last year, and they sent me over to the Philippines to create a feature-length documentary.
I lived with a host family while I took classes in Spanish with Spanish professors at the University of Oviedo, and I was a Spaniard for a semester, and it was the best decision I made as a college student.
This just in, we still hate Niagara. Welcome back to #Griff Sports. I'm now joined with superfan Pat Clancy. And Pat, the Griffs took on Niagara for the first two times this season on Wednesday with women's soccer and women's volleyball. And they split the first two games, but we had a solid turnout for the volleyball game at the CAC. And now let's just talk about the rivalry. Let's go back to last year. The Niagara University Purple Eagles come into the Kessler Center on, I think it was January 27th, that men's basketball game. Let's just talk about the atmosphere of that game. How crazy was it?
I think if I would pick one word, I would pick explosive. Just everything in general, everyone was so hyped up. We got people, got body paint going around, just running around screaming, tons of crop tops, all things of my speciality, is branching out to other people. And just the amount of cheering, just the camaraderie between everybody at Canisius. There was a lot of unity that we had that day.
Absolutely, and I'd say that that's really the one thing that we we absolutely look forward to at Canisius. And that last 30 seconds of that game was just it was heartbreak for our Canisius people here. Tell me about going to Niagara and how absolutely awesome that was. Just about 13 days later, I think it was February 10th, and we came up with a big win there. Talk about the atmosphere there and how much really Niagara just didn't show up.
Yeah, well, of course they had that first loss. Well, we had that first loss, and they expect to win. Oh, we already beat these guys. But, even though we did score at that point, and yeah, we beat them. But it's just, I don't think that they were expecting us, to come out so passionately and to just give it our all. It's good to win on our home field, but I'd have to say it's better to beat other people on theirs. Just the feeling, playing sports myself back in high school, I loved away games. I actually liked away games better than I liked home games, just because you go into somebody else's home field and just disrespect, destroy everything, make fun of their fans.
And that's exactly what we want to do at Canisius, is make fun of. Niagara's fans, I just felt kind of disappointed with their their attendance at the game at the Gallagher Center up in Lewiston. And just for our perspective, it's such a big deal at Canisius, beating Niagara. Mm-hmm. And I've got the sense that at Niagara it's not that big of a deal because they haven't won the Battle of the Bridge in
Well,
4 years,
you would be disappointed in your own school if your mascot looked like it was born during the Chernobyl incident. That might be the ugliest mascot I have ever seen in my entire life. Have you ever seen it?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
It is.
It might be the worst thing on the entire face of the earth. I have never seen anything that looks worse than that mascot. I've seen a lot of mascots. I was the mascot for my high school team, the Saints. The head was made out of chicken wire covered in paper mache. And
was that better than the Niagara mascot?
Yeah, it was better, surprisingly.
Wow, that's impressive.
It was the worst. It was probably made by a fifth grader.
Which
not a very artistic fifth grader either.
Which means it was probably a less artistic fifth grader that did the...
I'm pretty sure that the purple eagle was sewn together by, like, I don't know, it was probably made with some satanic ritual gone horribly wrong. That's the only way that I can figure that somebody would make that.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people sometimes question Canisius, like, oh, what's a griffin, or it looks similar to an eagle, but let's just set the record straight.
It's a mythical
right
being.
Now. It's a mythical being, and what's
It
better
doesn't
than being a
actually
mythical
exist.
being?
It's a
what's
boss.
better?
You know,
Exactly.
it's got the intelligence of an eagle. It's got the heart of a lion.
The ferocity as well.
It's
I mean,
a
like, let's be real here.
beast.
A beast.
It's a beast. Literally, it is a beast.
I mean, like, I think we could say that it's probably one of the better mascots in the NCAA.
If not the world.
If not the, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
You have other schools with dragons and such, you know.
Also
People don't go, oh, what's a dragon? Dragons aren't real.
No one
Neither
says
is a
that to them.
griffin.
Exactly.
Maybe if you actually had an education and you could study up on things, you'd realize it's a mythological beast. And you can't find it in your backyard because it would rip you to shreds.
That is exactly true. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this or that game. It'll be a Golden Performer of the Week and the Golden Play of the Week. Thank you, Pat, for coming on the show.
Anytime.
Always
My
love
pleasure.
talking about our disdain for Niagara. We'll be right back on #GriffSports. And we are back on #GriffSports, and John is back at the desk with me, and we are going to debut a brand new game that we'll call This or That. First topic, John, which school has a better student body, fan base, Canisius or Niagara?
See, if we're talking basketball, it's tough because a lot of games the students just don't come out. And as much as we'd love to see the students come out, when we come out, we are loud. But right now, I have to say Niagara because we do not bring it when it comes to the basketball team.
Wow.
On a consistent basis, we don't. But see, that one's tough because I don't see Niagara on a daily basis, so I don't know what they bring.
Yeah, and I understand that. And, you know, for me, as C Block president, I'm going to say that I'm going to take Canisius, even though I've seen, you know, us through our good and our bad times. You have to also realize, I think the thing that sealed it for our student fan base is probably the game at Niagara last year for the at the Gallagher Center men's basketball, when we brought 120 students and were able to really make an impact there. I would say that Canisius has the edge there, and you can't be biased, but I think this year we can, at the end of this basketball season, at the end of this year, I think we can actually make a new an informed decision, because I think C Block is going to have a little bit more of an impact this year.
The way this is shaped, it's which fans are better, and when we bring it, we're better. Canisius all the way.
All right.
Moving on now. It was just announced that Griff softball ranked 25th nationally in GPA. Where are they better, Joe? On the field or in the classroom?
I think that's really tough, because you got to say 25th in the nation in GPA nationally. I mean, that's fantastic. I would say, you know, the Griff softball team has not been, hasn't been ranked in the top 25, to my knowledge, in the past year. So I'm going to say in the classroom, not to take away whatsoever from their performance on the field, because they are a very competitive team. They play very well. They go to the MAC tournament for softball. So I'm gonna say in the classroom, but not because they're not good on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a knock on the softball program whatsoever, but 25th in the nation in GPA, that's incredible, and that's something that needs to be recognized. So I'm going to say in the classroom because that deserves to be recognized.
All right, next topic. Both basketball teams begin practicing this week. Which program should be more excited about the upcoming season, men's or women's basketball?
Men's. I mean, this is Barron's team now. You know, no more Harold, no more Isaac. This is his team now, and I'm excited to see what this team's going to do. I think they can do some big things this year.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say that definitely the women's basketball team has a lot to look forward to. They are very talented, and I think that they can make a deep run. But the men's basketball team just looked so good last year. You know, our freshman year, 5-25, really nothing to be excited about. And last year they come up with 20 wins. They're now headed into, this is kind of a turning point year, I think, for this program. You know, if you have another good year, if you can back it up, say it wasn't a fluke last year, then we can probably say something about maybe starting a little bit more of a deeper tradition here with, not only the fans, but also, recruiting and all the stuff that comes with that. I'm gonna say men's as well.
Absolutely. And last one, both Kyle Gibbons and Tony Capobianco were named to the Atlantic Hockey preseason all-star team. Which player is more important to the success of Griff's hockey?
That is very difficult. Both players are stellar on the ice. And you know what? Really, it would be unfair to take either one. And I don't know. I think I might have to say that. I'm going to say Tony Capobianco, the goaltender. Not that Kyle, Gibbons isn't important, but just the way Capobianco played last year in their playoff run was fantastic. Because I have to choose, that's the other one. If I could choose both, I would, absolutely. But I'll say Capo.
Yeah, and I hate to agree all the time here, but it's Tony Capobianco because the goalie's the most important part of your team. If he's stopping everything, it makes it easier on the offense. You're absolutely right. If you could choose both, you're absolutely choosing both. But Tony Capobianco is just great in net, and that's the rock of their team right there.
And I agree with you on that. Moving on to this week's Golden Performer of the Week, Will Hudson, senior midfielder for the Griff's men's soccer team, had both goals in the victory over St. Bonaventure, including the game winner in the 96th minute. Will Hudson is this week's Golden Performer of the Week. And also our top play, Emily Ellick with a solo block in the first set. And she had 5 total blocks in the contest. And that was quite a nice play there and a big win for the Griff's volleyball team. Anything else today, John?
Not that I can think of.
All right, fantastic. This has been #GriffSports. I am Joe Rutigliano. This is John Langley, and we'll be back next week with another edition of #GriffSports.